born in Peckham, raised in Camberwell. I went to Caldecott Primary School. And then I was one of those kids that you hear about whose parents tell them they're going on holiday to Spain and then they end up in Nigeria. So yeah, that happened to me. I went to boarding school and I was in Nigeria for about 5 years. But I wouldn't take it back. I learned how to speak my language while I was there. I learned the customs. I learned how to cook the food. And overall, it was a great experience. And then I came back and I went to Bishop Douglas in East Finchley, which is... it's one of those sort of deceiving schools, and I say that because it had a lot of very clever people. So in the league tables, they were quite high up. However, there were a lot of bad kids in that school. They were clever, but they were really bad, and a lot of bad things happened.
So I'm from southeast London. I was born in a place called Lewisham. Grew up in between a place called Lee Green and Catford. My background is, well, my grandparents are from Jamaica in the Caribbean. I wish I lived there now, but I don't. I grew up in London. Really, as you know, it's a really, really busy, crazy place to grow up. But I'm kind of grateful that I did grow up there, you know, because it gives you a good sense of streetwiseness, if that's a word. But I really appreciate that now. Having travelled many places, that I had that London vibe growing up. It's not an easy place to grow up. There's so many influences that aren't always positive, but I think it's really important to stay away from those and have some sort of goal, which is what I had growing up in London, to steer me into my chosen path that I'm in now. So it's really important to just be, you know, in London, to be yourself, be individual amongst all of those bad influences and negative influences. And to be honest, it's not just London, they're everywhere in the world, but it's down to the individual to avoid those. So I think growing up London is a good place to learn how to do that.
What's the friends and family discount saying?
I can get you 50% off, but it's still going to be a substantial amount of money. But
yeah, that's how
to be fair, if it's something that you put on a bucket list and you just want to do for one-off with your friends, then to be fair, it's worthwhile doing, I think.
Yeah, I wouldn't be going very far. I don't think I would afford to go that far.
How long is it to get to Liverpool?
Hey, there are a few places you can go to quite quickly. Amsterdam's not far.
Yeah,
you can do that.
True,
and Amsterdam's a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so obviously, Theo, now you fly commercially. How different is your flight paths or your journey or your destinations in relation to Anthony?
So I fly a 737, so it's just bigger than this. We carry around 180 passengers on that. And generally we would go to the same destinations that Anthony would, the same distances. Generally it's just that we just carry more passengers, more baggage and freight effectively. So that's about it really.
Once you told me the story of how you two guys actually met, I couldn't believe that story. Yeah. So please tell the viewers.
So I went to Poland to do some of my flight training in Łódź, which is a small city in the sort of southeast of Poland. So I went out there. I was out there for about a month doing my training. As you know, in that part of Poland, there's not too many guys from the UK and definitely not too many black guys there either, right? So I went into flight school one day and lo and behold, I bumped into Anthony in reception, and it transpires he's on the same journey as me. He's from a similar area to me.
But at that point, you don't know each other?
We've never met. This is the first time. He's come for the same reason, but just a little bit after me.
Okay.
And yeah, we got there at 9 o'clock in the morning, and here he is, my brother now. You know.
Absolutely.
He says the same reason being.
So in terms of flight training, we've both been to we've gone the modular route. So we've done bits of our training in different parts of the world to make it the most cost effective and get the best training that we can do. And not all schools have the level of integrity that we would have liked. They sell you a dream and it's not as they say it would be. But Poland, shout out to Barcelona, we'd done our research and it was very cost effective and the standard of training was really, really
excellent.
good.
It's actually the best part of my training. All of that I'd received, and some of it being in the UK, and I'm sure that's the case for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. It's a really good school. And again, with Poland, I remember watching a documentary of Sol Campbell when he's talking about the Euros when it was being hosted by Poland and Ukraine, and him saying it was really racist and you know black people shouldn't go there. And I needed to go there. This training needed to be done. I could afford it. It was a good quality of training, and I was apprehensive. I'll be honest with you. And I went. I'm like, I'm just gonna go to the flight school, do my training, go home, do my studying, and that's it.
Yeah.
But I went there and we had a great time.
We had a great time.
Yeah, we had a great time. We went out. The people were really friendly.
Exactly.
Sometimes they were a bit shocked because I suppose they're used to seeing black people on the TV, but they were really friendly. The people were really nice. The city was great, and the quality of training, like we said, was great.
From a young age, I was always fascinated by planes, and as I got older, I did more research, and I just thought, I wanted to be a pilot. Okay. And then, as you get older, I did more research in how I was going to go about that. But you said it about school being an influence. I wouldn't say school had a massive influence on me, but all I know is that being at school, and from what my mum and dad raised me to be, or how they raised me, was to always be different. And I always knew that I wanted to stand out and be different. But, I didn't choose to become a pilot to be different. But that being said, it was always, no matter what I was going to do, I was always going to try and be different from the people that I went to school.
So with this particular dream, like, you need a lot of perseverance, and you need that passion to fuel you, because there will be hard times and it is a long journey. So unless you or your parents have to the tune of £90,000 set aside for you to just go ahead and go off and do the training on an integrated course somewhere, then it's going to be a long, hard road, but it's worth it at the end of the day.
I 100% agree. And like you said, it will force you to probably go to places that you never imagined you'd go. For example, Łódź in Poland.
But then again, you surprise yourself because places you didn't think you'd like, you find you do like, and you meet people. We've met loads of people, and like some of my closest friends now are people I've met in training, flying in Florida, in Oxford, in Poland. Me, him, Emil, we all still talk. We're still quite close.
All right, so gentlemen, could you tell me what the hardest challenge you face up to this point in your career?
I think
raising the funds.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have a similar answer on that, and it's raising some of the funds that you need to do your flight training. Again, but I don't want to deter anyone away from this career because of the money, and it didn't deter us.
Yeah, there's one challenge I think most pilots face, and I'll probably leave that to Theo because more likely than not I know that he's going to say that, but a challenge that I think was slightly unique to me, and I know he might have had something similar, was so we have a set of ground school exams we have to take, and they're 14 modules, and once you take those 14 modules, they're valid for 3 years, and you've got 3 years to get your commercial pilot's license and your instrument rating done. I went to school in the States, and the school went bankrupt essentially, and they didn't tell us till the last minute. So that set me back time-wise, and I went to Poland.
They didn't give you the money back?
I'd used the money up until that point, but I had more money to get more work done, but they kept on delaying, saying we can't start this part of the course for this reason and that reason, and essentially wasted about a month of my time when I could have started my CPL training. They didn't start it.
Which is costing you money,
exactly,
just being there.
And basically, to cut a long story short, I had to do those 14 modules again, and I then had a deadline to get those modules done, or I'd have to do my CPL and IR test again. And this is round about the time I completed on buying my house, which was a doer upper. So my days consisted of waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning, studying till 7, getting ready, going to work, from work going to the house to see how the builders are getting on, going to see my wife and the kids, and then going back to my parents because I had to move her in with her mum's because it was closer to the kids' school, and I had to move back in with my parents while the house was getting done. Going to sleep about 10, 11 o'clock, waking up at 4, doing that all over again for about 8 weeks to get these exams done.
And so what about you, Theo?
Biggest challenge would be probably just finances, just trying to find the money to get all the training done, and I did that in various ways, working myself. Mum and dad are grafters, my mum and dad are chefs, and they work hard, they help me. My aunts, other relatives, even my church helped put up some of the money for the time when we paid them back, just to help get me through at certain times, So everyone kind of like mucked in, and I worked hard myself as well, to get there. So it's you got to work hard. It's a lot of hard work becoming a pilot, and it's hard work trying to raise the money as well. But it is doable.
One thing we definitely don't want to do is put anyone off. I've had to work a bit, save a bit, do a bit, work a bit, save a bit, do a bit to get it done. Like people, if you have the money there, can get it done in about a year and a half or 2 years.
Yeah, you can do.
Whereas it took me about 7 years to get it done. But I wanted it. I wanted it. I got it done, and here we
drive.
are.
It's a driving
Yeah,
force.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And so,
Absolutely.
with that being said, the next question I want to ask is there a pivotal moment in that journey where everything just kind of changed? Whether it was during the course of the journey, whether it was prior, or was it at the end for either one of you?
Like I said, I've got a degree in aerospace engineering, and I was working for General Electric at the time, and they make plane engines. And I was just behind the desk and thinking, this isn't what I want to do. I like planes, but I'm not close enough to the flying experience as I thought I would be. And that's when I made the decision to actually fly planes. Yeah, because you have a dream of like wanting to design planes and be close to the flying experience, and you get to the actual job and you get behind the desk and you realize this isn't what I thought it would be.
Okay.
And that's another thing I would say as well. Don't be scared to chase your dream, whatever stage it is, because I was about 25 years old when I made the decision to chase this career. When you don't have much experience, it's hard to get the first job. And the second turning point was when I got this job, because I was applying to loads of places: Ryanair, EasyJet, Flybe, Thomas Cook, and I was hearing back, but nothing overly positive. But I wanted a job, and I ended up getting this job by coming to this airport, because they have a few companies that operate private jets out of here. I bought 5 boxes of Krispy Kreme donuts.
Brilliant.
I honestly, I stuck my CV to the top of stuck my CV to the top of the boxes.
I love it.
And dropped them on the reception desk of each charter company based
Such
in
a
this
clever
airport.
idea. Yeah.
And a week later, I got an email inviting me.
I never knew this.
Yeah,
This is amazing.
I got an email inviting me for an interview, and that's how I got this job.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was doing my pilot training, even though it took me a long time. All I knew is that I'm trying to get my pilot's license.
Yeah.
So within that, I always remained quite positive, you know. I was always like, yeah, I'm going to get my license. No matter how I'm going to get there, I will get it. The minute I got my license, I noticed the transition where I was like, okay, I've got it now. Now, what's next?
Yeah,
I need
what's
to get a
next?
job.
I love that.
And now I was like, okay, so how do I go about getting a job? And I didn't have the Krispy Kremes idea. I wish I did now. But yeah, so there was a long period, you know, like I said, it led up to 11 months where I was thinking, I don't know if this is going to work out. And that's where I would say I was in that training bubble. I came out of that training bubble, and now I'm in the big bad world of aviation, and I need to find that job. And it didn't come as quickly as I wanted. So I found that I was getting disheartened, you know, sort of felt like I'm going backwards.
Yeah, we all know
But
that
now,
feeling.
you know, in hindsight, I always believe there's a greater plan that's been designed for you, and that was just teaching me a lesson, and that's teaching me to be patient.
Okay.
And that's where I would say, you know, there was a transition period in my life, in my career, in my chosen path, and you know what, it came good, but it took perseverance.
Okay.
And that's something I want to, a message that I want to send to anyone is that,
Absolutely.
you know, when you think everything's going great and then it starts going backwards, it's the strong mind that allows you to keep going and become better, you know.
So right now, I think this is a very powerful image of having you two on a private jet like this. And it made me think, growing up, did you get the opportunity, or did you ever see two black pilots on TV, or even just let alone in real life?
No, to be honest, I think the first time I ever saw a black pilot was when I was in Nigeria, actually. I was flying Nigerian Airways, and I saw a black pilot. And even with Nigerian Airways, one of them was black and one of them was white. But it wasn't common. In the UK, I never really saw it, to be honest.
No, I hadn't, not on TV or anything like that, and don't really recall going on holiday and ever seeing black pilots. However, my first ever flight that I did, it was a present from my mum and dad, right here in this airport. The instructor that took me up was a black guy.
Wow, that's amazing.
And I couldn't believe it, you know, and he had his license. He was looking for his first job as well.
Okay.
And it's funny, I still haven't forgot that. That was 2006,
Of
so
course.
13 years ago. I still haven't forgot when he told me his story, which kind of gave me inspiration. But no, I would never have seen that before, or even imagined it, actually.
He's going to be captain very soon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
hopefully. That's the plan, you know. I think most people that aim to be pilots want to be a captain.
Absolutely.
So,
No, it's definitely an aspiration of mine, which I plan to get as soon
all
as
in the
possible.
right, all
But
in time.
his is coming shortly. Shortly. Very
With hard
shortly.
work again,
Yes,
of course.
of course.
Good luck. Good luck.
Thank you very much.